Dodgers are in first place right now.
I know. You know, if somebody would have told you at the beginning of the season that Max Muncy would be our go-to guy, you would have said, what the hell are you talking about?
And you would have said, no, Matt Kemp. And then you would have said, well, what the hell am I talking about there, too?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I mean, listen, we're 8 games over 500 right now. We're in a very weak division. I mean, I would have thought that Arizona would be doing better than they're doing now, and then maybe Colorado. But no, and we're not. You got to win the division. You're not going to get the wild card out of the National League West.
Right, I know, because Max Muncy, we were talking about the other day, sounds like a character from an old school movie, like From the Natural.
Yes,
like the Robert Duvall's character.
And batting in the number 3 position, number 41, Max Muncy.
That's what it sounds like.
Muncy.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is. And just when you think that your team is down and out, and Kershaw has hardly had anything to do with it.
No, I mean, he's been injured, you know. He's been injured. I mean, he started out the season great. They couldn't get him any support, and he wound up not getting the amount of wins he should have. But, I mean, his ERA is still good. But, I mean, he's been hurt, and he's been used, sparingly.
Do you go back to the Brooklyn days with this team or no?
I was a New York Giant fan when I lived in the Bronx. My dad was a Brooklyn Dodger fan. He was a Giant fan, but he became a Brooklyn Dodger fan when they acquired Jackie Robinson in 1947. I was born in 47, so I grew up loving Willie Mays. He was my idol, and
then when you moved out,
when we moved to California, I still stayed a Giant fan when they moved to San Francisco. And when they sold Mays at the end of his career, they sold him to the Mets. And I said, I got really mad. I mean, how could they do that? Willie Mays, you know? And then I became a Dodger fan.
It's amazing because, you know, in the final year of Vin Scully's career at the mic, it was discussed. Even he spoke openly about how he was a Giants fan essentially first.
Right.
And a lot of Dodger fans were like, what is what is he talking about?
Well, I mean, if you were in New York, if you lived in the Bronx, you're either a Yankee fan or you're a Giants fan. I mean, we had those great arguments. We had, Mays, Mantle, and Duke Snyder. And there was a big arguments amongst kids who was the best. We had 3 great center fielders in New York at the time. And that was the arguments. But, I mean, I remember as an 8-year-old kid, I went to a Giant Dodger game. It was in the Polo Grounds in the Bronx, and I went and got Willie Mays' autograph. I went down to the dugout, and he gave me his autograph, and I was like, oh, my God, And the game was like a 16-inning game, and the Dodgers, the Giants won it in the bottom of the 16th. A guy named Valmy Thomas, who was a catcher for the Giants, he backed up, I think, Wes Westrom, and he came in and hit a home run, and I was like, going crazy, and I left my program at the ballpark.
Oh, come on.
I'm not kidding. I cried for days. I had Willie's autograph, and I didn't
And you left it.
Yeah, but then years later, I got to meet him, and I shook his hand.
When was this?
This was way later. Now I'm, a grown man, and
after you gave up the Giants because they sold them to the Mets?
I still like them.
Okay.
I still have a feeling for them. I know you can't possibly have a feeling for the Giants if you're a Dodger fan.
Right.
But if they're playing together, I do root for the Dodgers.
Rob Reiner here on the Rich Eisen Show. Your dad being who he is and was at the time, did that afford you the opportunity of meeting sports stars as you were a kid?
Well, I mean, he was a huge baseball fan, and he introduced me to baseball. And then I introduced my son Jake to baseball. I went with him when he was young, starting like 8 or 9 years old. We went to every park in the majors over a period of many summers. We go to 3 or 4 parks, and it was a great experience. It's a wonderful experience. If I'm sure you've been to Cooperstown.
Sure,
but it's great.
Like
you have to actually make a pilgrimage to get there because you can't get there so easily.
Yeah, there's no direct flight.
You have to want to go there. And I went there, and they had this new exhibit where they had put a thing where there was ballpark seats, and they had a movie theater, and they had the history of baseball.
Sure.
And they showed it against the history of America and how the sport is handed down from fathers to sons and, and from their children. And I'm sitting there and I'm crying watching this thing with at that point, Jake was like 11 years old.
Yes.
And I'm crying. And the lights come up, and the curator of the museum says, this exhibit was designed to make a grown man cry. And I said, well, you did it. You did it.
You nailed it.
They nailed it.
They stuck the landing.
I mean, it was incredible.
Well, I was just taking a shot that maybe Joe DiMaggio showed up on your show of shows at some point.
No, I didn't get to meet that many ball players. I got to meet them later, when I played in those Hollywood celebrity. They had the games they used to play at Dodger Stadium where they were hardball games. I mean, and they would have the actors play against the sports writers and the sportscasters, you know. And I played in a few of those games, so that was fun.
So did you strike out Jim Murray at one point?
No, I played outfield. I was outfield. Okay, I'm going to tell you 3 things very quickly.
Sure.
Because this is like the greatest thing that ever happened in my entire life.
It is a lot of great things.
No. The movie's crap compared to what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
In one game, I'm playing left field. Don Newcomb is pitching for our team. Okay. We're winning 1-0, or I think it was 1-0, and there was a man on second base. There were 2 outs, and the guy gets a base hit to left field, and the guy's rounding third, coming home, right? And I uncork. This is 48,000 people there. I uncork a throw, which Glenn Campbell, playing third base, tried to cut off. And I had the guy, and he was such a bad player that he missed the ball. It went right through to Max Baer Jr. from the Beverly Hillbillies. He catches the ball, puts the tag on him, and he's out. And we're running off the field, and Newcomb turns to me and says, "Thanks for saving my shutout."
Thank God the Rhinestone Cowboy couldn't play the hot corner.
And one time, Red Adams was pitching for the other team, and I hit a ball. It hit the 3. I guess it's a 375 sign, you know, in left center field, and it was like right at the base of the wall. I mean, it wasn't like even closer, but another 10 feet, and I dreamt about that for years. I still have it once in a while. Ooh, another 10 feet, I would have.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.